This is a very strange experience for me.
It feels so weird. I kind of like it though.
Are you comfy?
Yeah. I think this might need to be the new podcast setup. Just lay in bed.
I'm not gonna say no because I'm comfy too, but it still feels kind of strange.
I'm not going to disagree. It does feel strange. However, I'm warm. Beanie is happy, and this is the good side of my face.
Yeah, you guys who watch these videos on YouTube, you'll get to see the right side of my head
Oh
today instead
yeah.
of the left since we've swapped sides. And as a bonus, you're gonna get to see Beanie's butt. So,
Heck yeah. And
Cal's
butt pictures
tushy.
from Cowie.
Cal's tush.
I'm excited. This is comfy. I like this. It doesn't feel quite as like fancy. It's not as fancy pantsy.
It's not as fancy pantsy, but it also is just like very fitting to the theme that we have today.
This is a good theme today, and I've been waiting to do this, but I have been having other ones that I've been wanting to do more. But today we're in bed because we're talking about dreams. And if you know me, dreams are really one of my favorite topics. So I'm surprised it took me this long to talk about. But I love talking about dreams. I love hyperanalyzing them. I've done a couple speeches and papers on them throughout high school, and I don't know, I just really enjoy them. And whenever I have really weird dreams, I always tell you about them.
You dream very frequently and very vividly with
Every night, yeah.
so many different topics
Yeah.
and everything like that.
Yeah. And for this episode, one of these stories is going to be mine. So you guys can guess which one's my story, but I'm not going to tell you. And I'm not, Connor knows. Connor knows which one is. But I'm not going to tell you guys. So good luck. This is going to
Hmm.
be really fun. It's going to be cozy, and it's going to be good.
I hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah. Are you ready to begin?
I am ready. How do we start this one off?
With the first dream. They're relatively short because they're dreams, so they're not typically longer. So I woke up in the dark, laying on rotting wood. I look around, and I can see dark wooden boards that were fallen all around me. It looks like I'm in a broken down house of some sort. I start to get up to look for a way out of it. Above me, I see a small light. I climb up to it, and as I climb through the small hole at the top, my eyes slowly adjust to the light. I realize the crumbled house I was in had a tree growing from within. I sit in the tree as I climbed out of the hole, and I peer between the branches to see where I am. I hear waves crashing in the distance. I look closer, and boats are firing at each other. My eyes clear now, and I realize I'm looking at a war. There's men everywhere on the beach fighting and dying. I see them running around, screaming, waves crashing to the shore, people jumping ship, everything. I see one of the soldiers getting closer to me as he limps away from battle. He was staring at the ground in exhaustion. He looks up, and our eyes meet. I realize he knows I do not belong here. I am not from here. hmm So there's some edits with this one, and essentially, I'm not gonna go through and read it word for word, but essentially they describe that it looks like they're looking at a war scene, okay? And it was dated back in time, is how it felt to them. It wasn't like present day. This was like way back when, like 1400s, 1500s, in that realm of stuff, to give you some backstory.
So in my head, I'm picturing this in like black and white, and I would love to know like the significance of the home. If the home felt like it's more of a modern home, or if it's like
hmm
old, kind of run down, like definitely old, time appropriate home.
I picture like a cottage, if you will, like a wooden cottage. Like those maybe this is just a Midwest thing, but those homes where like you see them in a field and they're like broken down and there's like beans all around them and like wheat, like that sort of deal. That's what I picture.
And my head kind of pictures that as well. Um, but if we're talking like 17 or 1800 like time frames, those might be even or might not even be time appropriate. So
It might
like I don't
not.
know, but
I was
I'd
gonna say
just be
I
curious.
don't know the history of homes and time periods
Mhm.
very well. But like to me, this dream, I'm thinking like, okay, like I'm the person who thinks that dreams are significant in every way. And sometimes they don't mean a whole lot. Sometimes it's just an expression of a feeling. Sometimes it's a memory. Sometimes it's a future event. And sometimes it skips around in time. Okay. So I think this was a skip around in time. Like they transported back in time and they were somewhere they shouldn't. And part of me wonders if like those conspiracies where like, oh, I see this picture, it's in black and white in the 1920s, and there's a person on a phone, and why would they be on a phone? Like, that's what I picture in this, and to me, it's like, oh my God, could that be a possibility? And I feel like that's a far out stretch, but at the same time, like, but what if?
There's potential in that. I'm also curious, like, if the dream had continued, would she have gotten drawn into the battle, or they? I suppose I don't know who the. Would they have gotten drawn into the battle and gotten attacked by all of the soldiers, or would they have just watched this battle unfold? Like,
They would have been a prisoner.
think so?
When you see a girl standing in a tree, you're probably not going to say, hello, how are you today? Like, they're probably gonna be like, what do you know? Blah, blah, blah. You think about it, like men have never been friendly in that sense.
Especially during wartime.
Yeah, no, they're not gonna be like, "Oh, hi, friend." Like, mm-mm. They're gonna do some interrogations.
Why do you wear strange-looking clothes?
Yeah, I wonder what the clothes were. If they were in like, you know, average looking clothes. If you're like in leggings and a flannel, they're probably gonna be like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "Dude, you never guess what I saw in this tree."
What is this material? It is not buckskin.
What if ghosts are actually like people in dreams, just like wandering?
That is a very interesting thought process.
I just thought about that now. Maybe not all of them, but like, what if sometimes they just like go someplace they shouldn't?
I wonder how you would explain then super malevolent and malicious ghosts if those are like,
Well, not all
people.
of them.
Well, yes, but I'm just saying, like, if those are like, I'm trying to speculate. If those are the people in the world that are, heavily asocial or antisocial and are actively, you know, malevolent and malicious towards people in the real world, and then when they get into their dreams, they have this additional power that they can reach out and touch people's lives beyond like their everyday scope.
Thinking in general, like in your dreams, I feel like you're a little different. Like in your dreams, you're like, oh, I killed somebody or I stabbed somebody, or maybe that's just me. I don't know. That doesn't happen very often, but like, you do things and maybe that's just a little bit different with some people. Maybe some people just have really violent dreams. Like I've had really violent dreams and not necessarily like I'm the one being violent, but I mean there is a lot of violence.
I've been stabbed in my dreams before.
I had a dream the other day where someone took like a giant fish hook, like the size of my head, and like jabbed it through my thigh.
Ow.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I'm like, oh, I'll probably wake up for this, and I didn't, and I was very mad about it.
So rude.
Yeah, I feel pain in my dreams, so that was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're just a big old piece of bait.
throw me in the water. Are you ready for story number two?
I am.
Okay. I was in a room by myself, nothing but a bed that I was laying in. To my left was a doorway, nothing in it. The walls looked like they were old, like no one has given them any attention in many years. The room was black, no light coming in, yet somehow it got darker. I slowly felt all of my bones in my body start to crack. My arms and legs moved in ways they had to be broken. I felt my voice screaming for John like my life depended on it. Yet, it didn't feel like my voice. When I did wake up from the nightmare, it didn't stop. The images flashing through my mind were not mine, and something wanted in my head. I saw shifting shadows and odd lights, the images still flashing to the darkness. As I tried to leave to go downstairs, it felt like all the energy in their room was trying to keep me there. I got emotional, and it felt as if I was having an anxiety attack. My body was still shaking when I went downstairs with John to use the bathroom. I decided I could not sleep there again for the night. I went back up to grab a pillow and blanket. Again, I felt the darkness start to swarm me. Emotions back. It almost felt like it was walking behind me, trying to engulf me into it. It felt as if at any moment I'd hear my own name whispered in my ear.
That's almost possessive and clingy and gross. Like you leave the space, you're very consciously awake, and you're still feeling that energy grabbing onto you and trying to drag you back into the dream.
Mm, yeah, that's terrifying, and I've had dreams where like it feels like you're getting sucked back in, and it's such a terrifying feeling. Like it's actually horrible. Just to like feel like you're not in control and like it's scary. It's really scary. I don't know.
S-
And the emotions that come with it and the fact that like the nightmare didn't end after they woke up, like I don't know. That's scary. That's sketchy. That's stage of the house type shit.
Mm-hmm. That I think that might be priority number one when you wake up. But as
Mhm.
long as we're on the topic of violent and aggressive dreams, like feeling your body breaking and every bone in your body snapping and cracking and like all that's crazy torturous.
Terrifying.
Hmm.
Terrifying. In a room by yourself in the dark. And I never understood when people were like, "Oh, I was in a dark room, but it got even darker." I never understood that until I experienced that. So like hearing it, it's just like, "Oh my God, it's a terrible, terrible feeling. It's so horrible. It's so horrible." It'd be like in a pitch black room and somehow it still gets darker. It's just so malevolent and creepy. It's absolutely terrible.
I'm so happy that I haven't had these kind of
You're
experiences.
very lucky. I have nightmares pretty frequently, although lately I haven't been. And I'm not gonna question it.
Hmm.
I'm gonna take it and run with it, and we're gonna be good.
I tend to have very out there and kind of unique dreams.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna share a little bit here for the listeners. Um, the latest dream that I remember involved running from Muppets. So they're a little bit out there. They're not typically paranormal. They're just strange.
Your dreams are like they're just dumb. Like they're very like bubbly, like weird stuff. Like, oh, I was fighting in a war, then I forgot to eat breakfast, so I had a couple pancakes, and then I stubbed my toe on the way out the door, and then I got halfway back to the battle, and I realized I forgot to get my Pokemon. Like, that's yours.
Oh my gosh, I totally had that dream last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how
No.
weird yours are. Whenever you tell me about a dream, that's like how it is. And then there's mine. It's like an entire storyline with like foreshadowing, a plot, all the characters. There's like a climax to it. It's all intense. Yours just aren't that way.
Mine are just kind of meandery and goofy.
Yeah. You don't, yeah. I want you to have one of those.
You want me to have one of these sticky, gross, like,
Not necessarily the sticky gross. I just want you to have a really intense dream so then you can relate. Because I relate to these,
I mean, I have had intense dreams before,
but
but
not like this.
not this kind. No, I'm gonna say this. I don't think I ever really will, because I just don't dream the same way. Like I'm typically Like I'm a heavy sleeper, but I don't tend to get a whole lot of like, I don't know, that kind of sensation when I'm sleeping.
I suppose. I don't know. I'm almost too afraid to fall asleep really deep because I wonder if like I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'm gonna get stuck there. And I can actually usually feel my nightmares before I have them. Because you no, hear me out. Hear me out. Um, no, like sometimes at night, I it's a weird feeling. It almost feels like an energy shifts. I don't know. It's so hard to explain. I don't feel like I'll ever be able to explain it well unless you like you know. But it's almost like a shift in energy. Sometimes I'll just be laying there on TikTok, doing my thing, scrolling until I get tired. Sometimes I'm watching TV or a movie. But sometimes I lay there and it's like I can't shake something. Like something's like almost like pulling at like a hair on the back of your head. And it's like just irritating. And I'm like, oh, I can feel that there's a nightmare coming tonight. And that's been accurate many, many times. So it's just, I don't know, it's weird. I wonder if I'm so sensitive to energies that like when there is an energy present, that it just kind of rubs off in my dreams. I was that way as a kid too. I remember like crying. My parents were like, "It's just a nightmare." I'm like, "No, I was awake. I was awake." And the best way to describe that one was actually oh my God, I'm blanking on the word. Um, what's the word where when you're typically you get it when you're older and you're standing there and the water in like your ear shifts around and you get really dizzy and
Like motion sickness?
well, yeah, but there's a fancy term to it.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Why can't I remember the word? My dad's talked about it.
That doesn't help me.
I'm gonna look it up quick.
It's Google time with Shay.
How do you even explain that? Motion sickness in old people?
This is
Motion sickness.
maybe this needs to be a new segment. We just try and
I
learn
want to say
something
it
together
starts
on
with
the
a V.
podcast.
It's on the tip of my tongue. In old. God, I can't remember the damn term. Hmm. This is gonna bug me.
Maybe one of the viewers will know and will comment it.
I'll read another story and then I'll see if I remember it.
Sounds good to me.
We'll go on to story number 3 and I'll probably remember in the middle of it, then forget it again. Okay. Story number 3. I was standing in an open field. The skies were clear, and there was a slight breeze that made the wheat sway just a little. In front of me, there was a house that used to be. The only thing left was a broken slab of cement, bits of rotting wood from an old garage, and 2 rusty trucks that will never move. I began to cry and look at the house and think, there was so much healing done here. Way off in the distance, I hear someone call to me, but no one's there. My gut tells me it's time to go. I make my way to the gravel road, and the way. Yeah. I just need to read that sentence because it didn't make sense. I make my way to the gravel road, and the dream starts to feel like it starts moving in slow motion, like a movie playback. You know when a wife dies in a movie and it cuts to flashback of her smiling and twirling? That. I go through the ditch, and I feel something close. As I stand on the edge of the gravel road, to my right, nothing. To my left, a gray pickup drives past. He stares at me, doesn't smile, just drives. I don't know him. I cross the road, and I get to the side on. Mhm. I cross the road, and I get to a spot on the other side of the field. This is where my life is, and I can't help but think death is close. It stared at me, but I am not sure it was for me. But I see peace, the house that once stood, a daycare I used to be at when I was very young. Why is it pulling at me? They were foster parents. They helped many kids. Why is it pulling me there?
That's so interesting to me. Like you're getting the way that it's kind of playing out, it makes me think of like OP said, where it's like, okay, flashbacks going through your life and like
That like in a movie where it's like, oh, my wife dies, and she's like twirling in a sundress in the field, and it's like a yellow light almost, and it's like happy smiling, and her hair is like, phew, like I don't know.
I can picture the scene in my
Yeah,
head.
like yeah, that's I guess the feeling.
Well, even so, it feels like it's a continuation of that. And OP like
Yeah.
woke up en route to dying and like didn't quite finish that sequence because like, oh,
That's almost what it feels like. It feels like the Grim Reaper was coming for you.
mm-hmm.
Which
like
is really fucking creepy.
like my mom. Oh, there's my mom. Oh, my favorite memory of her. And then like, oh, this like what was it? An adopted like foster home or
They're foster
something.
parents. It was a foster home.
Yeah, so like the foster home, so like maybe it was like, oh, my mother that I never had, and then like I'm starting at my earliest memory in my foster home where I had XYZ different experience, and then I grew up and like they were going through the
Yeah.
flashes of their life and never actually got to get to that point because like their heart started pumping again.
That's a really good analysis.
Yeah, you enjoy that theory?
That's an interesting theory. I kind of like that. The thing I like about these dreams is I feel like they're so open to interpretation. Cause like I don't know, like who's gonna say like I'm wrong? Like I don't know. Like how would you know if I'm wrong?
I'd be very curious to actually do like a true dream analysis and get to know like and speak with somebody who has like a pretty deep understanding of like commonalities between dreams, what's all going on, and how that might impact and like have meaning going forward. Because like I can speculate all I want, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a lot or a very wide base to be able to look and try and compare and contrast and understand what's going on in these. I can speculate, and I like where my brain went on that one. But
No, I get so absorbed in these stories. I'm like, I want to talk and know more when I hear stories like that. I'm like, what's the significance to you? Like, I want to know all the significance. Do you recognize the man in the truck? Like, how do you know that it was their house? Was it a feeling? Did you recognize it? What about the gravel road and the field? Like, do you know that area? And like, what was the general feeling of the dream? Did you feel okay, like you were safe, or was it just like, ooh, we're gonna creep away from this now? Or like, I want to know more about the feeling of the dream.
yeah, the context and everything is definitely important in a lot of this stuff. I feel like unless you're the one having the dream, or you are speaking directly to the person who had the dream, it's really hard to get to know a lot of those details.
Yeah.
But I always want to know what happens next. And every dream that I have, I'm like, oh, I wonder what would happen if I would like hadn't woken up at this point. Like, what would have gone on next? Where would my brain have gone? And like, I want to know this with OP here. Like, where do they go from there? Do they go into the house and then relive an experience? Do they just see the house and accept it? Does the house like start on fire? Like,
Starts burning. They're watching from the other side. Like, ah, shit. Good thing I moved.
like I was more so thinking like, okay, you have the experience and then you're dying and then your memory's disappearing.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you ever finish a dream and then like not finish, but like you wake up from a dream and like I have to finish it. So you try to go back to bed to finish your dream.
yeah, except those are usually good dreams. I don't really go back to bed to try and finish
I
bad
don't think
dreams.
most do.
I
Like
mean,
I sometimes I'm in like a mission dream, like, oh, I gotta go finish my mission. So I like try to fall back asleep.
I think that you would fall asleep to find out what happens in a lot of your dreams.
I would because I'm curious. I'm like, damn, why did I wake up? Like that was interesting. Or sometimes when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm dreaming, and I was like flying. I'm like, oh, I want to go back. I want to finish it.
That was so much fun.
Yeah. Like, can I go back? Like when you realize you're dreaming and then you start to wake up, I'm like, you gotta like fight to stay.
I don't ever really fight to stay because
Oh, I do.
sometimes once I realize I'm waking up, my brain starts working. It's like, okay, what do I need to do today? Do I have to like wake up? I
You go into
do.
work mode?
My brain goes into work mode the second I realize I'm awake, and so I can never get back to sleep, which is why if I wake up within an hour of my alarm,
Oh,
90% of the time I'm just toast. I'm just awake because my brain recognizes, oh yeah, I'm like right there. I can't sleep for that much longer, and then I just start going through the whole process of my day.
you're weird.
I am in many ways.
So weird. I'm ready for story number 4. I can't listen to this anymore. You and your weird dreams. This dream was interesting. It was different. It was a warning. I got flashing warnings from someone I used to work with, but that's not the point. She kept saying there's a guy named Justin I'm supposed to meet in January. Outright, he's fine. Nothing wrong. But there's something that isn't good about him, and I don't know why. My gut tells me a stalker, but I'm not sure I'm right. I was running across mats at a lake. The skies are dark, and I realize Molly is behind me, and she can't keep going. She falls in, and I go back to catch her. I feel leeches attach. Flash forward, and Justin and Luke are peeling leeches off of my legs, and I'm crying. In my head, I hear her telling me that in January, there is this guy named Justin that will stand out. She tells me to stay away, but won't give me a reason why.
I want to know who these two people are to OP. You know, because like we just kind of get names, but we don't necessarily get any sort of background on who they are.
That's the hard part, which kind of sucks. Because, like, it would be nice to get a little bit more background, but I feel like when people get so into dreams, they're just like, type it out, and then, like, they're done with it.
Well, when I wake up from a dream that I feel like I need to write down to be able to share, remember, do things, because otherwise I wake up and 2 hours later I have no recollection other than, hey, I had a dream. So if I do wake up, I have to just start jotting down as many details as I can and trying to replay it in my head.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they might have lost some of that detail or just in the hurry to try and get as much of the dream down as they could, just forgot to include detail and like copy pasted it over from some document.
That's the hard part. It's like you never know the situation. Sometimes when people think of their own dreams, I feel like they're like, oh, this makes complete sense. Like, how do you not know this? But then other people read it like, what the fuck is happening? Because, like, I don't know, it's your own dream. You know what's happening. But to other people, it's probably a little more confusing.
Hmm. I think the worst part of that dream for me would have been the leeches.
I hate leeches. I'd rather have a leech than a tick, though.
Aren't leeches like previously used in a lot of medicines and things? Like the
Um,
bloodletting kind of deal is what a lot of people used to think of in like early, like medieval times.
maybe? I'm not educated in that realm, I guess.
I thought they would like,
I don't know.
they would either use leeches to try and extract like diseases or a virus or what, like some an infection or whatever, you know, and so they like put leeches on somebody, or they would like, I think bloodletting is the term for like actually just like, hey, let's just expel some of your like bad blood and then try and just replenish with good stuff. So they literally like would just, oh yeah, you're feeling gross, here, let's just bleed you a little bit.
Probably just stab them and get the same shit done.
They do it and like do a little cut, let's bleed.
Gross. I hate that. That's so
Aren't you glad we live in the 21st?
weird. Yes and no, because I know I wasn't meant to be born in a time without air conditioning. No, some people were like, "Oh my gosh, I was meant to be born in like this century or this century." And I just know. I know I could not have lasted in a world without air conditioning.
I
It would not have happened.
I think today you went from being hot and cold like
At least 15
six
times.
times.
Yeah. Yeah. I did.
You don't temperature regulate worth
I
squat.
don't. And like, if you lived in the like northern part of the United States, like we do, you're not living without heat. Like you need heat. And no, I don't want to survive in a world without AC, without heat. Like TikTok and Netflix, I don't want to live in a world without it. I did live in a world without Netflix for a while, so don't come at me. I'm not that young. I remember when Netflix came in CDs to like your mailbox.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
It still can.
Can it still?
I occasionally, when I was working at my last job, would see CDs in mailboxes. So
Weird.
maybe it was other like companies and stuff too.
That was the good old days.
Yeah, if it's not precisely 68 degrees on the nose, you're having problems. And even then, you might still get like a chill or like be flushed.
That's just it, because I feel like my body was like, oh, we're really cold. We're gonna be really cold for a little bit, and then we're gonna like overheat almost. It's like when someone is in a house, right? And like, oh my God, it's way too hot in here. So they turn it down to like 62, and then it gets to 62, and they're like, oh my God, it's way too cold. And then it goes back up to like 78. I feel like that's what my body does. Like it overcompensates for everything, so it gets like really cold, really hot.
I believe it.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. We'll never know.
Magic.
It is.
The magic of the
Yeah.
human body.
I don't know if it's magic. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass. I wish we could regrow limbs. I want to be a fucking lizard. I do.
Hey, don't go all Dr. Connor on me.
Oh, Dr. Connor from Spider-Man. I was like, you're not a doctor. What are
Well,
you, Ross Geller?
he's a
Watching
doctor,
too
just not
much
a
Friends
medical
lately.
doctor.
Well, everyone in the show says he's not a doctor. I mean, he has his doctorate, but he's not a doctor.
You should tell that to Alex then.
Or even Morgan on Two Hot Takes, like she technically is a doctor. She's got her doctorate. Did you know that?
I mean, if I go through all that like schooling and I spend that much money and defend like my thesis and everything like that, and yeah, I'm gonna be a doctor. I don't care what it's in. It won't be an MD, but I'll be a doctor.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna make everyone call me doctor this, doctor that. Like that's weird. Like I know you earn it, but personally I couldn't do it.
Hello, wife. Hello, doctor. Last name.
I bet there's some people that have like a kink for that.
Oh
Oh,
God.
doctors!
Oh God. Don't do that. Why did you try and emulate it? Oh my God. It's already bad enough that we're doing this in our bed. We don't need
Shit,
that.
yeah. I didn't think about that part. I tried to rock my hips with it too. I was like,
You did
I
not.
did. It wasn't very noticeable. I was hoping you wouldn't catch it.
Why did you say it then?
I don't
Because now,
know.
before, only the people who watched on video would be able to notice, and now you just said that to everybody.
Well, you know what? They deserve the no.
I'm so glad you
People
guys did
deserve
that.
to know. They can judge me all day long. That is not the weirdest thing I've done in my life.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah,
But
I know. It's unfortunate, but also maybe a good thing.
well, thank you to everybody for joining us here in our fancy pantsy different studio
Yeah.
episode.
And the next episode you guys will probably see will be in our new house. So they're going to get another new location. So that'll be fun.
I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the new house, the new setup. I'm looking forward to the next episode, and I'm really hoping that you guys send us in some dreams as well.
Yeah, send us in dreams. I like reading them, but maybe give us a little bit more detail than what we had from these. Just a little bit.
I want
Oh,
all the details.
give me all the details. I need like I need like an index of like who this person is and who this person is.
hmm Give us a glossary.
Yeah, I was really hoping that like I'd remember that word by the end of this, but I don't. Maybe I'll have to put it in the description.
If you can think of it again before this gets uploaded, even, you got a couple days.
I don't have a lot of faith in myself, I'm gonna be honest. That's okay. Someone will say it and be like, oh, duh. Be like, I'm an idiot, but that's fine. That's fine. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.